So, hello, good morning. Oh, this is Dr. Susan Kay in Austin, Texas, meeting with O, located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. O is a love activist and a community organizer using the pronouns of them and those. O is going to share with us today her mission that I have kind of been part of for the last 40 years, because we've been in this conversation for 40 years. I've been in my conversation for 40 years. We may know each other 30 years, you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what a walk and a journey and a blessing it has been to watch you, to be by your side, and to still be standing together on things that we believe in that bring together mind and body for the you with you, and then bring together you with others, which we're going to talk about today. How does this happen that you with others has gotten so broken down, where we start out as you with you, like we're one in the unification of the sperm and the egg, which loves to talk about, and how their mission has grown from this wisdom that they came here on the planet to deliver. I believe when we get to do the mission we came here to do, there's nothing more exciting, right? How many people search and hunt? I don't know what I'm here to do. I don't know why I'm here. I don't. We came in knowing, and I feel really blessed and honored for that mission. And I feel blessed and honored to have been by your side as we do
Yes.
our missions together. So I'm going to let them just take it from here. I will jump in or speak up where I can help myself and I have to contribute. But mostly, I'm going to let O tell their story and their mission from day one till right now.
Yeah. So, Susan, what a pleasure and an honor it is to have walked beside each other, even when we weren't doing that on the physical plane, right? So there's this way of walking where we're actually physically side by side, and then we disappear from each other, like right, and we disappear for years. And then all of a sudden the universe says, okay, it's time to orchestrate getting them back together again. And then we come back together again after 10, 15 years, and it's like
Yeah.
a minute has gone by. you know. And so there's something so precious and sacred about that, that I think it is a reflection of the inseparable oneness. I think it's a reflection of spirits, like minds, how we communicate with each other in the ethereal realms or in the invisible realms, or very similar actually to computers and cell phones, right? And so you have a computer or you have a cell phone in Africa, and someone, you're able to speak with them in England, right? Or you're able to speak with them in America. And so there's this invisible field that we call the World Wide Web that we normalize. It's like, oh yeah, of course, I go like this on my computer, or I go like this on my phone, and I expect I expect to be able to communicate and send images and send music. I expect that that system will carry us. And all I'm suggesting here is even before the internet, even before cell phones, we have been communicating. Humans have been communicating. Animals have been communicating. Trees have been communicating. The earth is a communicator. And so, where we are right now is noticing how a lot of the communication that humans specifically, right, that humans specifically are having is rooted in distortion, It's rooted in fear. It's rooted in anxiety. It's rooted in displacement. It's rooted in attack.
It's 11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock.
That's my computer guy. He keeps me on track.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
11:11.
He-
11:11
yeah,
corner, which is the gateway to what we're talking about.
exactly. Yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
And so the portal's open. And so a part of this conversation that I'm excited about having with you is how do we reclaim our full brilliance in a way that when we are working with our brilliance, because the word brilliant is light, right? So when we're working with the light or we're working with our brilliance, we have to remember that that's power. And that if we don't figure out how to work with that brilliance, how to work with that light, we will burn the planet down. And you can see that with the trees.
That's happening.
Right? You can see it with the trees, that our sparkiness with each other, our wars, our economic instability, our not embracing each other is a fiery element. That's fire.
Yeah.
Right? Our M80 missiles, our machine guns, our hand grenades, our nuclear arms, our chemical warfare, all that is fire energy. And so fire's not bad. We need fire. Yay, fire. We love fire. But too much fire is dangerous. Too much fire. Too much water. Too much dry. And so we are a people who seem to be fluctuating between the too much. Too much consumerism, too much harshness, too much fear. It's just too much. Right? So if we have too much fear, then what do we need more of?
Opposite of fear is love. Yeah. Yeah. And love, as we were talking earlier, spelled backwards is evolve. And
Right.
we need to embrace evolving from this way that we've been doing it that's not serving us.
Right. So that's such a beautiful awareness that love spelled backwards is the invitation to evolve. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And then evolve, spelled backwards, is an invitation to love. And so that's where we are in our evolving process. What would it look like? What is actually needed to reclaim our birthright to love? So that's what I'm an activist of. I am committed to activating in people curiosity. Let's get more curious. Yeah, let's get more curious about what we're really capable of being and doing. So that curiosity has brought me to this. This is a part of the ministry that I work with. Okay, let's see if I can. Okay.
Yep,
So
there it is.
this is a seed. Yay, seeds. We love seeds. Gotta love them, right? And this particular seed comes from a tree called a rain tree. It's a rain tree seed. And so I love introducing people to this particular seed And usually when we do workshops, educational programs to support people in reclaiming the fullness of who they are in relationship to the invisible realms, I invite the community to bring their seed, bring a seed, right? And people bring, apple seeds, and they bring cantaloupe seeds and grape seeds and orchid seeds and right seeds. And so all of these amazing, beautiful seeds present themselves, and we get to be enamored by them. It's like, okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to place the seed in your hand, and I really want you to just look at it. Like really hold it and be with it. And the community does that. And then I say to them, so for example, in this particular seed, because I give everybody one of these specific seeds so that they get one of these plus the one they've brought. And I say to them, you're holding a tree. You're holding a whole tree in the palm of your hand. And people are like children. They are so precious. I love adults because they really are just big children. And so there's this epiphany. There's like this aha moment. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm holding a whole tree in the palm of my hand. And then I say to them, not only are you holding a tree, but you're holding a whole forest. And not only are you holding a whole forest, you're actually holding the universe in the palm of your hand. Because what's inside of the seed is literally the whole universe that was needed in order for this seed to even come into fruition. You can't have a seed unless you have soil. And you can't have soil unless you have a planet precisely positioned in order for life to happen. So I attempt to support people in awakening to the miracle of who they are, whose they are, and what they're actually capable of. So that we can shake out the cobwebs, we can shake them cobwebs out and start being curious. And so I use seeds to support the imagination at that level. Mm-hmm.
So I know you want to go to a place of where the seeds and the sperm come together to give us life. And it is that seed connected to the sperm that has us at least trying to be awake and aware of how do the sperm and the seed live more in harmony and togetherness on a planet that is now in need of stop looking at diversities. We are all one here and we all got here the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so here's what I noticed. When I would talk about sperm and eggs, people would get all squeamish. It's amazing how adults get confused around things that are so intimate and necessary for us to be actually talking about and exploring. So if I say the word egg to people, they seem to manage the word egg. Egg doesn't seem to be a problem. Why? We eat eggs, right? We eat chicken eggs, right? And so we're used to eggs, and eggs is an everyday. It's in my refrigerator. So we seem to be able to manage and negotiate the frequency and the vibration and the word and the language egg. But as soon as I say the word As soon as I say the word sperm, wow, people regress. They regress, right? And they enter into a realm of anxiety. I'm amazed at that. I can say egg, no anxiety there. But as soon as I say sperm, all manner of experiences, images, the way that we have been conditioned and colonized to think about sperm facilitates often anxiety, discomfort, for some disgust, right? And so it's amazing what one word, all the emotions that one word can awaken for people. So I watched that, and that's why I now start by speaking with this seed, because it's not as charged, and it allows people to get comfortable with the exploration and the curiosity. And then after the childlike wonder and the childlike curiosity is ignited, then it is easier to get people to go from this seed to go, and you know what? Once upon a time, long, long ago, but not so very long ago, you were a seed. Right? Right? And so it seems to be a gentler way to get the community to go from the safety of exploring the power of this seed to the then curiosity of people going, oh, wow, that's right. I was a seed. It's like, yeah. Isn't that amazing? You were a seed. And look at you now.
And it's something we all share, that there's beginnings, no matter what color, flavor, religion, all that stuff that divides us. The finite beginning is all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And everything
Right.
with the planet too. I mean, it's comprehensive. And as we were speaking earlier about the trees, and the little tiny seeds, the little acorn becomes these incredible trees that sustain us, that are our brothers and sisters, and yet we have this disconnect, just like we have a disconnect from the combination of egg and sperm. We have a disconnect from the trees or everything else that came from seed, practically, right? It's a struggle.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful that you chose the word disconnect, because that's brilliant. Because the sperm that comes from the earthly father and the egg that comes from the earthly mother are disconnected, right? They're not connected at some level. And they are doing everything in their power to get connected. They are doing everything in their power to connect. Because what they recognize is, if they don't connect, what will happen? They'll die. If they don't connect, they die. So what you have is anywhere from 150 million to 250 million sperm per ejaculation. And you start off with 5 million eggs. One egg each month is released into the fallopian tube. So you go from 5 million to one egg. You go 150 million to 250 million sperm. And so you have this one. Here, let me do it this way. You have this one egg. This isn't an egg. This is a seed, but I'm using it as a symbol as an egg. You have this one egg, and you have like 150 million sperm that are, very committed to connection, really want connection. Because if we don't connect, we're gonna die. Right? Pretty dramatic. What's amazing is out here, we've reversed it. We're attachment avoidant. We're attachment avoidant. And yet we came from, if I don't attach, I'm going to die. Right? So a part of the healing, a part of the spiritual, esoteric, metaphysical, poetic, free license exploration that I do in the shamanic work is I go, okay, how did we get there? How did we get to, I'm going to do everything in my power to connect, to now that I'm out here, I don't want to connect. Like, what happened in the middle passage? What happened there? And so some of the work that I'm exploring is trauma. Like looking at trauma and the effects and the impact of trauma. And what we know on this side, that once a child is born, on this side, a constant, even sporadic flow of trauma literally impacts the architectural design of the brain. A child who is traumatized literally has a different brain architectural structure than a child who has less trauma. Okay? So the positive news of that negative is that we know that the brain is plastic enough, plasticity, that even when a person has been traumatized, that there is a way of returning to relationship through therapeutics, music, yoga, meditation, counseling, therapy, sometimes medication, that there's a way of working with a brain, a human, that we can reclaim regulation, neural regulation. So trauma is something that the culture is moving into more fully and looking at the effects and the impacts, mostly on children and also in utero. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking that even another step back in regression and really looking at sperm trauma.
Sperm and not seed? Is it mostly come from?
Well, since humans seem to be the ones destroying the planet, I thought I'd start with us.
You're fine.
Yes. Since we seem to be the ones killing everything, I got curious around that in my spiritual journey, and I was like, okay, what? It's got to be a pattern. It appears to be a pattern of something, because nature is pattern. Nature is pattern. So I was like, okay, let's go back as far as we can to the pattern of violence. And so what I was able to see is that you do have sperm who are coming from a whole universe, the universe of the man's body. It's coming from a universe that it is of it. The sperm is of the man. And when the sperm comes out, right? And it comes out, it is entering a totally different universe. And when it enters that universe, when it first enters the vaginal space of the woman's body experiences the sperm as what?
A foreigner, an enemy, or something foreign. Yeah.
To be destroyed.
To be destroyed, right.
And I'm choosing to believe that is our origin story. That a part of us that comes from other male enters a foreign land. And when it enters that foreign land, it's first met with, you don't belong here. You are not welcomed. And you're nothing but trouble.
There's some things to be said about that. I love men, but there is that male.
Well, but it's a vibration. Like I'm looking at the vibratory signals. Even if you love men, adore men, worship men, cherish men, think they're the cat's meow, right? The vagina may not like sperm because it's perceived as other. And I think that is where we are bringing that particular story to Earth. And that's where the healing has to happen. So not only does the sperm's attacked, it's seen as other, 250 million sperm are pretty much killed, destroyed by the acids. There are other chemicals, though, in the woman's body that actually direct the sperm, help the sperm get to location. So it's a yes and. Not only is it hostile, but it's also supportive. Both are true. It's a yes and. So the one sperm, so you have 250 million sperm per ejaculation, about 1,000 will make it to the egg. So those 1,000 that actually make it to the egg have actually been accompanied. They were able to follow the frequencies, the chemicals, the smells that actually supported the sperm and all that hostility.
Does it have any correlation then to the trauma that men have put on women?
I think so. I think on a psychic, esoteric, energetic level, because the story's not done. After the sperm gets through this hostile female environment, right? Hostile female environment with some friendliness, it finally gets to the egg. It finds itself almost like spooning with the egg. The egg then pulls it into its interior, what I call the Holy of Holies, into the interior realm. But after all that hard work, the sperm is then destroyed. Not very fun. And so I choose to believe that's a part of our aversion to connection. That if I actually do this hard work, if I really do this Herculean hard work, and I'm actually accepted, you're going to destroy me.
Yeah.
Relationship.
Curious.
That's relationship. You're going to destroy me.
Wow.
And so my belief is, here's the distinction that we have not matured in. The egg doesn't kill the sperm. It destroys the sperm, but it doesn't kill it.
It's absorbed.
It dismantles it just enough. It has to dismantle the outer layer just enough so that the DNA can be released, right? So you don't want to kill it.
Yeah.
But I think what has happened is that particular part of our relationality, we've not had midwives. We've not had healers. We've not had the psychic midwives to help us recognize that when we're born, We actually did the miracle. We did do it. And we never get grounded as babies to the degree in which humans really need to be grounded. Instead, we bring babies often into chaos. We bring babies into more chaos. We are not supporting parents in the ways in which parents really need to be supported, so that parents can ground their children. We haven't created any of the infrastructures that really stabilize mom, stabilize dad, so that they can stabilize baby. And I think that's a part of the evolution, the evolutionary work that we need to move into. You're muted, dearest.
Oh, sorry. That's the work that we do, in that when a client comes in to sit with me, I want to know what happened those first 5 years. That's where my whole focus is. And they say, oh, I don't remember. But as I start asking questions or start prodding or saying, what if, or, oh, yeah, now that you say that, and I can take those first 5 years and create a thread to the person sitting in front of me with a dysfunction or concern that they brought in with them. So I hear you. You're spot on with what we do in helping folks to see that there was the nature part of what they got, there's the nurture part of what they got, which they didn't have any say over. But then I have a third theory that says there's a plain damn you part, that you get to pick and choose what serves me in my nature, what serves me in my nurture, and what else doesn't I get rid of. Yeah.
And so you say the first 5 years, and now what I'm suggesting is, yes, we definitely need that first 5 years, and we need to go back even further. We need to support people in regressing, those who want to do the work, in regressing back to supporting them and remembering their sperm and egg story. Because the sperm and egg story is a part of their origin story.
Yeah, and is this the work that you're doing? I know you're involved in many things, and we've talked about when you'll be offering another workshop or lecture on, is it this topic, like how do we go back? How do we get in touch with that trauma, as you name it, and help it to heal a part of not only who we are as males or females or in between, but also healing that message that we seem to still be operating out of. Is that what can you talk about your workshop and when you might be looking to present? Because we want to host you on our Patreon platform with your next workshop.
So yes, just like I shared with you earlier, that I found that if I talk about sperm and egg too quickly, people get really dysregulated. I'll put it that way. And so I discovered, okay, so let's meet people where they are. And so we begin the conversation with the seed, because that seems to be easier for people to hold on to and expand their imagination. So there are 3 levels of workshops that I facilitate. The first level of workshop is about self-reclamation, self-care. How do we locate our true nature that is worthy and deserving of nothing less than the best? See, we've lost that every single one of us, all 7 billion of us, are worthy of nothing less than the best. We're all worthy of the best. And so supporting people in interrupting the capitalistic culture that creates an illusion which maintains distortions in relationship. The primary illusion is, I can measure your value. That's insane to me. Right? Like none of that makes sense to me. But it's because I have access to a different part of the brain. But most people have been conditioned and colonized to not even question that. Of course, someone can measure the value of a tree, the value of a bottled water, the value of electricity. I mean, we've just normalized that. And so if you can measure the value of how much your electricity costs, or how much a house costs, or how much a car costs, or how much a heart costs, which is really bizarre, you know, we have been conditioned to believe that you can measure the value of everything. We don't even question it. Then at some point it's easy to swallow the pill that says, and someone can measure your value, right? And we do that through sports, right? Men have really been colonized. We do that through sports. The best, most valued player, I think is what they may call it.
Right.
And so you have, right, the most valued player. It's like, oh, really? Okay, just put that person on the court and remove everybody else. And now let's see how well they can do, right? Because you need everybody for that one person to be able to do their work. But you need everybody. They're all equally valuable. But we haven't matured that language. So I have 3 programs that we facilitate. The first is about self-reclamation. No one can measure your value. And really helping people get that. There are systems that have hoodwinked you. There are systems that have conditioned you and colonized you, and you don't even question it. But let me tell you, no one can measure your value. That's number 1. So that's the first course. The second course is about entering more into nature itself, the seed, the invisible, reconnecting to the earth, reconnecting, letting go of humans are superior to trees. No, not really. Watch, get rid of the trees and then see where humans are. It's kind of like the basketball player, right? It's like, no, all equally valuable, but the ego has a belief that somehow humans are superior and more important. That's a lie, not true. And so that's the second course. The second course is recognizing nature, reclaiming nature. And then the third course is the one that brings people back into the womb, supports people in reconnecting to sperm and egg. But that's because we've already created a relationship, right? And so people aren't quickly brought into that story of sperm and egg. But it's a gradual process.
Yeah, I can see where you would need to build a platform, because we start with
Safety, trust.
and the you with you. Like, who is
Yeah.
you with you? And that's where we start within our therapeutic process. Like, do you accept these dictates of whatever systems have been put in place, maybe even hundreds of years before you got here? And so it's, how do we get you with you? And then we take that you with you, that healthy you with you, to you with others.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward
And
to hearing your. I've heard snippets, bits and pieces when I come hear you speak, or over the years, but I've not been party to a whole workshop, which I'm looking forward to being able to offer that to our audience and our students. And
yes.
yeah.
Yes, I look forward to that. Yes, I look forward to that. And so the other part, too, that we are contradicting is this fast pace, which often I speak of as sperm consciousness. So a large part of sperm consciousness is, okay, hurry up, I got to get this done. Oh, I got to connect or I'm going to die. Right, that's the urgency. And so we all know that urgency, and that urgency isn't bad or wrong, but it's sperm consciousness. It's the part of our journey that was rooted in scarcity. 150 million sperm, 1 egg, right? So that's where you, right? So that's where we have the body memory of scarcity and urgency. And what capitalism has done is they've profited off of that. They've profited off of our fear of scarcity that is a biological experience of the sperm.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay?
Beautifully wrapped up in everything that you said.
Yeah. And then the egg, though, so we know the sperm's journey. That's what has captivated the psyche of humans, is our sperm's narrative. What we're working on now is supporting the narrative of the egg. It's a different story. It's not better than, but it's different than the sperm. Because from the egg's perspective, one, it's already home, right? It's already home. Doesn't really have to go anywhere. It's already home,
Right.
right? Just has to do a little walk down an aisle, the fallopian tube. And it's being approached with abundance. 250 million sperm. Abundance is actually coming towards the egg. Right? We don't tell that story. That's the story we don't tell. And yet both of those stories live in us. So that's the other work that I'll be offering.
Well, you've been
The egg story.
You've been telling this story a long time, because I remember you had a sperm on your keychain 30 years ago.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, so it's just
Yes.
fabulous, and it's absolutely a conversation whose time has come. And the upliftment of women, the upliftment of people of color, the upliftment of just of a religious base. I mean, it's coming to the point where we need to pay attention, and you have
Yay.
said. So we'll let our viewers know when the lecture
Series.
series will begin,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll let me know when you have time, and we can work on it together, or whatever you need from me to get this up, because the time is now.
Yes, I hear the truth in
The
this.
time.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Yes.
thank you, Elle. Always lovely to be with you. Appreciate you. Respect and honor your work and your mission, and I'm grateful for having been with you and been able to call you friend and colleague.
Yes. 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 We hover well together.
We have the well. Take care.
All right. Blessings to you.
Bye
Bye.
for now.